You are listening, watching, all of the above, neither of the above. You have in front of you Think, a podcast for learning. Think. It's like think, but with an M instead of an N. So it's Think, an educational-ish podcast. We do the learning, so you don't have to. This is episode 96. We've almost made it. I'm your host, as always. I haven't gone anywhere. I'm still here, Nicholas Rue. And with me, also, is your other host, Paul Vine.
Hello.
Paul, tell the people what you're thinking about.
What am I thinking about? Well, I'm thinking about how they stealth added the Spider-Man web shooters to Fortnite, apparently.
Let's start out with a plug for our Fortnite streams. We're getting better.
No, I would say we're getting worse.
What?
we were well,
as people we're getting worse. As gamers, we're also getting worse because we're playing Fortnite instead of a big boy game. Also, thank you, Geese Breath, hosting for the host. We're the hosts, but you're the host that hosts the hosts. Who hosts the hosts? Geese Breath.
Damon Lindelof did a really good adaptation of that a couple years ago.
That's being generous with the word really good. The word's really good. Strong start, mediocre finish.
Wow, okay. But yes, we've been playing a lot of Fortnite because my brain is broken and I don't want to deal with games that are require me to think any more than that at this point, honestly. So
it's true. It's the gift. Fortnite's the gift that keeps giving because it just steals all the better mechanics, all the other mechanics from better games, and integrates it into its own.
I would say yes. It's like a parasite, it's almost like a Katamari Damacy, where
because God got drunk and threw away all the stars.
Yes, but it's just like going through, and it's just like, ooh, Spider-Man, I'll take that. Ooh, sliding, I will take some of that.
So I did.
You got tornado effects? Go ahead and give me some of that.
I did watch a 25-minute video last night explaining the lore of Fortnite.
Oh, what, like the story? Because there is a story.
Yeah,
what is the story? It's
basically lost. It's that like the Big Bang that created all of everything was created by an entity or a force known as the 0 point, which is contained within the island, but it is it defends itself from the companies that are trying to take it over and forces them into the loop, which is a round of Fortnite where people are unable to talk and they're forced to fight each other and then just loop in perpetuity. And Jones works for like a company. Jonesy works for some company that goes into other dimensions, harnessing the power of the 0 point to find the best warriors in an effort to end the loop. And there's a lot more to it than that, because there was Midas who tried to like finally end the loop, and then they tried to push back the storm, but the storm's alive, and then Galactus showed up at one point because he was going to eat the 0 point, but Tony Stark realized he'd have too much power, so then he had to put a bunch of bombs on buses and then make Galactus eat those instead. And then he broke up and exploded. I didn't play at that point, so I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, so half of what you said makes sense to me because I knew the thing about collecting the warriors. I guess the question that I have is when they finally decide to put a cap on Fortnite, when they decide to like, let's move on to the next thing, which I don't know if they will at this point. Who do you think the warrior is that they're going to bring in to kind of end it all? Right, like if you're staying true to the storyline, you've got to bring in like clearly the Predator, Alien, the superheroes. Who else have they brought in? Terminator. None of those people worked. So like, who is the like end all be all person that they're gonna bring in to like finally break the loop?
I'm tempted to end this episode 5 minutes in, but we have the answer for that, and this was an answer proposed by Lemon Demon over a decade ago. I believe the answer is Mr. Rogers in a bloodstained sweater.
Oh my god.
I'm not proud of that, but
if
academically, that's what we have.
If they did that, I feel like that's one of those, like, similar to how yesterday the internet was taken over by the news about Nancy Reagan that I do not want to go into right now.
Throat goat. Goat.
I feel like the Mr. Rogers thing would cause a similar like catastrophic rippling among Twitter, where just like a bunch of people are like, why is Mr. Rogers, the same way that like if you're
It's
in the
because
circle,
he won Fortnite.
that's true, he did.
Well, and now there's a whole thing of the guy in the light up mask that's The Rock was actually a character that was introduced seasons ago that was part of the Seven that Jonesy recruited to fight some company that was against the company he was working for.
Was
and
he
then
always The
betrayed
Rock?
them and they got caught into the loop? No. He never showed his face before, but now they're working towards face reveal that it's The Rock because he's like the leader of the Seven who got caught in the 0 point. I don't know. It was pretty late when I was watching this video. And then I just started watching like only OG Fortnite players will remember this. And it was like the sniper shotgun. They used to have a shotgun that they just didn't put like a range on.
Oh, so you could just like it just didn't have bullet drop off.
Yeah, that seemed tight. They had a pumpkin rocket that you could just stand on the pumpkin rocket and then fly through the air. It was a big move for a while, and I think they nerfed this, but double single barrel shotguns. And you just switch back. You take one shot in weapon slot 1, switch to weapon slot 2, take another shot, and just switch back and forth. And you could just like destroy people. I saw some
cool.
I saw some video footage of Ninja Tyler Blevins.
I think
pulling
you
some dope
usually
trick
do that
shots.
Tyler Ninja Blevins.
Tyler Blevins, aka
Legend of the Hidden Blevins.
Return of the Blevins.
Okay.
All right, for once on the stream though, let's take a step back from Fortnite. This isn't about Fortnite. The people are not here for Fortnite. If they were here for Fortnite, they'd be watching any other stream we do. But this is a different stream. We came to this stream to continue a theme that we started last weekend.
Yes.
Since we're not in school right now.
School's just
Our school got shut down because it was
right.
a fraud, a right-wing fraud.
I think I don't know if we can officially announce it, but we have talked about our visits to Dallas
Yeah.
and our field trip to Washington. Last year, earlier this year. Sorry. I think it's safe to say that we are embarking. We are in a secure location, and we are embarking in our free time, which we're given a couple hours of each day. Otherwise, we have to go back to our rooms. We are embarking in a self-teaching, self-taught courses. So school is maybe too strong of a word for that.
It's a learning-themed experience.
Yes. A learning
Themed experience.
Yes.
Legally, that's all we should say right now.
Yes.
But we came here to rap about spirits.
I think they already did that.
They did?
In the Ghostbusters, right? Did they not rap in the Ghostbusters?
No, there's the song. There's the
Bustin',
song.
Bustin' is, I guess, is not a rap.
Yeah, that's I mean, it's effectively stolen from Huey Lewis, so it's
That's true.
R&B at best, but certainly not not a rap.
Huey Lewis probably stole plenty of stuff himself.
Yeah, he's a kleptomaniac, well-known kleptomaniac, Huey Lewis.
Famous klepto. But yeah, we're here to talk about rapping,
Spirits,
guides,
spiritual rapping. Specifically, I'd say what 19th century. I said 18th century in the fucking thing. 19th century spiritualism.
And some of it dates back to, but yeah, it basically mid 1800s.
Yeah.
Spiritualism, right?
That's the name of the game.
Nick, how would you? So, I got to be honest. I was reading about spiritualism, and
Okay.
I fell down the rabbit hole of everything else.
Really?
Yeah. Like, okay, spiritualism, especially as it exists now, is like a religion, right? It founded its own religion. There's a spiritualist church in
Mm-hmm.
existence that I don't know basically anything about, but I do know that a lot of the spread of spiritualism in the U.S. came out of an area of northern, maybe western New York. Central and western is how it's described, called the Burned Over District, is how it's
Okay.
referred to,
Yeah.
which is basically just a way to refer to the fact that like it was an area of New York that was basically gripped every couple of years by some sort of religious like fervor. A lot of religions just kind of swept through the area, including like Mormonism. But the kicker here is that I found on the rabbit hole of reading about oh shit, where is it? It is Millerism.
Okay. Let's get into Millerism. Let's
We'll
start
start just it's going to be a brief aside. I don't think it'll get us back into spiritualism, but just like
there. Is this kind of before or concurrent to the spiritualist movement? The, the
so
Second Great Awakening.
it is it occurred during the Second Great Awakening, but it did not concern itself with spiritualism, but it was going on in the same areas. It's mostly so the are you familiar with the Seventh-day Adventist church that currently exists?
No.
All right, there's one
Did
on
they
like
invent the calendars?
No.
The chocolate loot box?
Yes, yes. So Millerism basically comes out of this guy named I want to say George Miller, but that is the guy who did Happy Feet. William Miller.
Wait, didn't you just refer to George Miller of Mad
Yes.
Max as the guy who did Happy Feet?
He did Happy Feet.
He did Happy Feet. I think he's most known for everything Mad Max related. But sure, also Mad Max creator and Happy Feet writer? Director?
I think he did Happy Feet and Happy Feet 2, and he said someone should kill me if I do Happy Feet 3.
He also did Babe and Babe 2. And Babe
Yes,
in Big
right.
City.
Babe Pig. Yes.
And he
so
did a
wait-
segment of Twilight Zone the movie, but not the one that everyone remembers.
The one that killed a bunch of kids.
Yeah, the one where what's his name? Landis. John Landis. John Landon killed the two kids and Tom Morrow.
Yes.
Rob Morrow?
Rob Morrow. Tom Morrow is the comic.
Robot from
Yes. So William Miller,
It's actually Vic Morrow.
Vic Morrow. Sorry. Yes, that's correct.
Too many Morrows on the team.
Yeah. Why your Winslow.
That's why your helicopter's low.
God. Damn it. William Miller, 1831, basically said, Jesus is coming. I've done the math. Jesus is coming. Check this out. And he cites a 2,300 days decree, which don't know exactly. It's 2,300 day prophecy and the 70-week prophecy.
Okay.
And so what he has said is if you start at the decree of Artaxerxes in the 7th year of his reign, which is 457 BC.
Is that the guy from 300?
No.
Okay.
Probably similar region, but
Different
but
Xerxes?
different Xerxes. It's Artaxerxes.
That's a common name.
But so it is. I saw it was like basically the rebuilding of Jerusalem is what this guy decreed, and it was 457 BC. If you start there, and then there's a 70-week prophecy, and I don't know where the 70 weeks come from. Probably somewhere in the Bible, but 70-week prophecy says if you do 70 weeks from that, you get to the day that Jesus died, assuming that by week you mean 7 days, and by day you mean here. So all of this religion kind of hinges on the idea that in the Bible, and this kind of goes back to like Methuselah or whatever, where he's like, well, you lived for 700 years. And it's like, well, their time's all fucked up. When they say year, they don't mean year. So 70 weeks is actually 483 days.
Okay. Like a year
and what they mean, well, and so what they mean is 483 years from 457 BC is how he's doing this.
Okay.
And so if you do that, you wind up at like basically at 27 AD, the year that Jesus died, apparently. And so using the same math with the
27 AD was the year Jesus died?
Like close enough. It's
Okay.
like 33, I think, is actually.
27, sure.
I think it's the year that he
So that means we're in like 5,000 AD.
No.
What?
We're in 2021.
But Jesus died in the future?
No.
Oh, 27 AD. Just
Yes.
27 AD, not
Yes,
2700. Okay, yeah.
Yes. So 27 I think 27 AD might be when Jesus like reappeared, right? Because he disappeared in the Bible. He's like gone. He was born,
I don't have it
disappeared,
ready.
and then he came back. It might be when he was baptized or something. The numbers are kind of murky. But he basically said, okay, well, if you do this for the 2300 day prophecy, again, don't know exactly what that is, you arrive at 1843 or 1844, depending on how you do the math.
Mm-hmm.
And so in 1831, he was like, I hope everyone's appreciating it. We got about 12, 13 more years before Jesus comes back, and we're all boned. So you best be on your best behavior. And so that was like a thing that swept up like that region of New York, along with like Mormonism and spiritualism. So like at the time, there's just all these competing things going on. I think the thing that I saw that was very interesting about is it Millerism or was it Mormonism? There was something that I saw about Barclays, like the bank Barclays.
Yeah.
And the shoe company Clark's being founded by members of
Like the Desert Boots own Clark's?
yes,
Okay.
I believe it's they might be associated with Seventh Day Adventists. Like I said, I fell down the rabbit hole, and at a certain point, it all started to blend together. But it was just very fascinating. The other thing that was also kind of interesting, and this is how I'll get us back into spiritualism, is that a lot of the people that were swept up in this were very progressive, right? Like like reformists who were anti-slavery and were like pro-women's suffrage, and a lot of them had ties back to, like, Miller himself was inspired by what's this guy's first name? Charles Fourier, who was a French socialist is probably the closest word. He basically, a lot of people who thought that, like, what if we just had a bunch of communes everywhere? That's kind of the vibe. And it was a lot of utopian socialism. Robert Owen came up, who like started Harmony, Indiana, I think is what it is. New Harmony, Indiana. Similar to like Utopia, Ohio. It's just like a bunch of those people were also swept up in this idea of, well, ghosts are real. And so I think that's how we're going to start. We'll start there. Just kind of giving a background to how did we get here?
How did we get here? Okay, so I don't know. Tell me if Millerism, from what I was reading, from what I researched, it sounded like, for the most part, you could consider yourself a Christian and also a spiritualist, unless you were like, extremely orthodox. Like most people considered themselves some type of Christian and then also spiritualist on the side. Where I don't think you could do that with, like, a Mormonism is a religion. Was Millerism just kind of like, was it a religion or just kind of a side thing you could believe in?
Eventually turned
a side
into
piece of beliefs.
Yeah, I don't think it necessarily was its own religion. It was, I mean, cult is probably the closer word for it, but
Mm-hmm.
like the Seventh-day Adventist Church, which is a current religious like church, came out of Millerism. Like it was a split that happened in like 1910 or something like that. So there's some overlap, but I don't think that it is. I don't think probably the people who believed in it would not consider themselves spiritualists. There's a lot of getting away from the organized religion. There's a lot of organized religion bad, but man's attempts to find God through his own path is good. You go back to Lost, it feels like there's a lot of that. So it is very kind of fascinating. I wish I had. It was so fascinating. Nick had to run.
Turn off the dark. Yeah, I man, everything kind of comes back to Lost. Fucking Fortnite lore comes back to Lost too. We should do an entire series on Lost.
We're almost done with the second season.
Oh, bud. So basically what I found was that spiritualism grew out of the Second Awakening, which also Millerism and Mormonism, like you said. During that time, a lot of people that were into spiritualism were people that were abolitionists, that spiritualism was way more popular in the North than in the South. However, most spiritualists were white, and most ghosts they saw were white. And what I read said that there were not really many like black spiritualists. That what is it? Sojourner
Truth.
Yeah, Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman have like been in circles where it was discussed, but had not been interested in it. You know?
Yeah, I saw a thing specifically that like Frederick Douglass called that as being a person who was not. It was like, I don't believe in that ghost shit.
Yeah, Frederick Douglass was apparently around it a lot, but didn't personally believe in it. And which is interesting because there does seem to be this like kind of, I don't know if it's white savior or more of like a noble savage trope, because there is this like weird kind of toxic reverence for Africans and Native Americans in the spiritualist system, where it's just like, oh well, they're closer to the earth, they're closer to the spirit world.
I saw a lot of stuff bringing up that like the people who are mostly into this were middle and upper class. A lot of what led to it, you know, it's kind of started 1840s ish, but like started hitting its peak in the 60s after the Civil War, and it had a revival again in like 19 teens, 1920s,
the 19 teens.
Because of World War One, and so it served for a lot of people as a way of talking to those that they lost in those wars, or you know, other battlefields or battlegrounds, that, you know, things that had been fought. But yeah, it is. I'm trying to think of like a modern analog for it today.
Yeah,
and it's like I feel like this is not going, and I don't mean to like cast aspersions on this, but it feels like
this hot take.
Either like a fad diet or anti-vaxxing.
Yeah, there's something like that feels very neolib about spiritualism, at least in the circles that were doing it. Like,
it's that thing of like they are progressive in their beliefs.
Yeah.
But then also believe in this other thing that's just like a little weird, and like you know.
Well, so that's what I read. What I found was that spiritualism was, you know, there's always been phenomenon. There's been like these certain different phenomenon, and a lot of those coalesced or were kind of like reached out to from the spiritualist movement. Of so what's spirit rapping exactly? That's where like ghosts could make noise.
Yeah, it's like knocking, or like famously, and we can go more into this, but the Fox sisters.
Yeah. I think the Fox sisters is a good place to start.
Yeah, but that was like their whole thing was that they could communicate through ghosts, or they could contact ghosts, and the ghosts would communicate through rapping or knocking on things, and then answer questions by using a simplistic like rap once for yes, rap twice for no, kind of thing.
And then they brought him up to like upstate New York, right? And
The Fox sisters.
the Fox sisters.
Yeah, they were. Where are they from? I had the page up, but they were from. They moved after. They were in Hydesville. Is where they were.
I know Frederick Douglass called bullshit on them, and I know that like some doctors said, "Oh, they're cracking their knuckles. They're just doing that with their bodies."
No. For like years, it's a thing where like for like 20, 30 years before they like, one of them came out and admitted it was all made up, and then retracted that later. But yeah, it was like since like the 1860 or something like that, people had been like, yeah, this isn't real. They're probably just, yes, 1851 is where a reverend said you could crack your toe joints and it was so loud that it could be heard in a large hall. So it's just like for a long time, people were like, yeah, they're just cracking their toes or something like that.
And then,
which I read that, and then I spent like 30 minutes trying to crack my toes, and it could like, there's no noise.
no, I mean, I crack my knuckles all the time, and maybe that's the problem. Maybe I need to crack knuckles less and build up that sweet knuckle air.
The crack your knuckle though is like a thing that like I guess you can kind of, I can get like a noise. It's more internal if I do this, but you like it's so obvious that you're doing that.
Yeah, but maybe
The reason that
your
the
hands
reason
in a
the reason that the
spooky
toes
dress.
worked. Yeah, that's the thing. The toes.
You can
work
hide your
because
toes.
Yeah.
You can hide your toe, no problem. Most times, toes are hidden.
Yeah.
I can't see your toes right now. Can you see mine?
No.
You got to pay for that. Go to onlyfans.com/think the podcast.
Our all toes episode.
Yeah, our feet pics.
But yeah, Quakers come up a lot, which is interesting. Quakers and the Shakers. Both groups that I don't know nearly enough about, despite being like, it feels like everywhere. Shakers less so, but
Yeah,
Quakers
and
like
Shakers. It's all about oats and raisin barns, right?
yeah. Well, the Quakers were like, the Quakers was like one of the groups that I knew that like, you could actually be a conscientious objector if you were a Quaker, like because that was like part of their thing. It's like, yeah, we don't believe in fighting wars.
Do they believe in guns?
I think they believe in guns. You can see a gun.
You can see, but I mean, like, okay, that's not the kind of belief I mean.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know if they owned guns or not, but so yeah, the
But
Fox
they did
sisters
own oats.
They did own oats. Fox sisters were Leah, Margaretta. You don't hear that name anymore.
I thought it was just Margaret.
It's
Oh,
what I'm
Margaretta,
saying.
yeah.
Margaretta
And Catherine.
called Maggie, and Catherine, also called Kate.
Kate.
The interesting thing is that like it's the two young sisters who did this. The older sister managed them for a while and then like left to just go live the rest of her life. And the other two sisters, as far as I can tell, just like got found out as frauds and then just like descended into straight poverty. Also because they both got real into drinking wine.
Oh no.
Yeah, they the younger sisters became alcoholics because they were moved away from their family to Rochester is what happened.
I mean, they were like 70. Well, I guess Leah was 77 when she died.
Yes.
And then the others were, I mean, they were 60.
They got old. Yeah, they got old.
60 or 70. Yeah, I mean, you can drink a lot of wine in that life. I think they did all right.
I mean, it was like a thing where, so is 1888 is when Margaretta was like, yeah, we faked this. We cracked our toes because we learned how to do it at a young enough age that we could control those muscles. And then like after backlash from the spiritualist community, she was just like, I'm just kidding. They paid me to say that.
Yeah, let's see. Margareta and Maggie and Kate made very strong statements against spiritualism, saying that I have been chiefly instrumental in perpetuating the fraud of spiritualism upon a too confiding public. Most of you doubtless know. The greatest sorrow in my life has been that this is true, and though it has come late in my day, I am now prepared to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. I am here tonight, as one of the founders of spiritualism, to denounce it as an absolute falsehood from beginning to end, as the flimsiest of superstitions, the most wicked blasphemy known to the world. That's what Maggie said. And then Kate said, I regard spiritualism as one of the greatest curses that the world has ever known.
Yeah, those were both in 88.
Yes.
And then they like died 2 years later. I guess Kate lived until 5 years later. 4 or 5 years later. 92, 93.
Mm-hmm. But so, okay, I don't... It sounds like from the research I saw, from the research I did, there's two main parts of spiritualism, and that is kind of the phenomenon, the things that are being done, and then what it all meant.
Yes.
Because it was kind of a cohesive, it wasn't just like weird things happening with ghosts. There were a lot of weird things happening with ghosts, but it's because spiritualists kind of believed that there was this like spiritual war going on.
Yeah, the sense that I get is that it's like a Dante's Inferno, but for heaven or for the afterlife, where they were just like, there's a bunch of layers, and the spirits are communicating because they need to make right by us so that they can go to the higher levels of heaven.
Yeah.
And also they're passing along their secrets so that we know how to not make the mistakes that they did to some degree.
It makes it sound like heavens and hell are both kind of like Fortnite, you know, and you can buy XP to get to the layers using V-Bucks. And in the world of spiritualism, we are on Twitch, you know, I just want to make it, kind of get it on the general gaming level. The V-Bucks of heaven are sympathy. Mm-hmm. That sympathy is a power and a currency that's important.
I was going to say G-Bucks for ghost.
G-Bucks works? Yeah, Ghost Bucks. Ghost Bucks, yeah. G-Bucks, yeah. So sympathy is G-Bucks or S-Bucks. Mm-hmm. Let's stick with G-Bucks. And they...
It rhymes, you know. It's nicer.
Basically, that African and Native communities had more sympathy inherent in their culture, and thus, that's the. I'm not saying that. That's the shit they said.
I know. Here's the thing. I did not stumble nearly enough into that. The closest I got to that was just a bunch of people being like, "We should talk to the natives because we really screwed them over."
Yeah.
And they could teach us how to be better people.
Well, so I watched like a what do you call that? A speech. When professors talk for an hour, what's that called?
A lecture.
A lecture. I watched a lecture on this, and basically the guy talked about how one of his main points was that the South actually won the Civil War. That it was a longer war than people realize, but there was a lasting like. The white supremacy still reigned in America, and there was a lot of division along racial lines, especially in the rebuilding of the South, that the North and these abolitionist ideas didn't really win in the way that like people think they did.
That is true. I believe that's W.E.B. Du Bois' like entire like thesis in Black Reconstruction in America.
Yeah,
I think I have the title of that right. But basically being that like the war, like the physical fighting was lost, but the economic war waged until, you know, I mean, wherever you want to end it, but at least like the quote unquote Reconstruction era is one in which like the South won that economically, right? They got a bunch of money from the North because the freeing of slaves, and then they basically managed to keep racialized laws in place to make sure that nothing basically changed.
Yeah. Now, what it sounds like is that the spiritualists of this era were trying to basically harness this ghost powers as a way of revealing some like more mystical or spiritual truth uh, underlying humanity that they could use to combat uh, the notions of the South and white supremacy and everything, while in turn also being, you know, white supremacist in a lot of their actions and beliefs. And basically, what the thesis that this lecture said was that the abolitionist movement died because the meaning of it, the part that was actually trying to battle against any like broader ideals, was defeated, and all that remained was kind of a examination of these different methods of contacting the spirit world, these different phenomenons, without having any like philosophy behind them.
Yes, what I was reading said that basically spiritualism as it exists today kind of broke into three parts. One is the church, the spiritualist church. And then it only defined the one other part, and it did not mention the third part. So I don't know what the third part
Really?
is.
Is that the Black Lodge?
Yes, there's a white lodge and a black lodge. Garmin Boja. But yeah, basically it was like the church kind of ripped away everything but the like physical manifestation and exploration of the phenomenon. And then the other part was just like kind of just left to be on its own. This I don't know, like what was left of the whole reason we're doing this is because we want to be better people or to make the world a better place, and we think that by turning to the spirit world we can get those answers.
What I really like about this is the assortment of performers in 19th century spiritualism is just like an X-Men, like a real mystery men grouping of people with kind of nonsensical powers coming together. You have the Fox sisters who could make noises happen, ask ghosts and make noises happen. Did you read about James Mansfield at all?
No. Syncretism, by the way, is the other thing that I was looking for.
Oh, it's syncretism.
It is the tradition of individual practitioners without any hierarchy of dogma. So it is literally just like your rando one-off person doing seances or whatever. Like, it was unorganized. There was no my camera seems to be moving a little slow, which is fine. There's no further thing to it other than just kind of that exploration and the grift. If we want to be honest, it is like what is left here is the people who are like doing this for the grift, and they're like, yeah, I can take these people money and tell them I can, tell them about their dead dog or whatever.
Oh, dude, one of my favorites is James Mansfield.
Okay, I don't know about James Mansfield. He's not the person that ran into the back of the truck and got beheaded, and that's why we call it the Mansfield Barrier, right?
What?
That's
No.
That's Jane Mansfield.
Okay. No.
Fun little trivia fact for you.
No, to my knowledge, not the same guy.
They probably didn't have semi trucks in 1850.
I don't know. We'll have to do an episode about
A whole episode about semi trucks in 1850. It'll be very short.
Theme talks trucks. He's the guy who came up basically with that Johnny Carson bit where he would just hold like letters to his forehead and he'd be like, this one says your wife wants a divorce.
Yeah, the psychic reading.
Yeah. He invented that. And then there was, do you know about Robert Hares?
No. So I know. So here's who I know. I know the Fox sisters.
Okay.
I knew. I read a little bit about Cora Scott. And then like earlier, like Mesmer, like Franz Mesmer, doing the hypnotism stuff. So tell me.
I would love to talk about that. So Robert Hares, apparently he is and was a well-regarded chemist. Who
a lot of these people were like scientists. Like so much of this in reading about this is like scientists who are like, this is bullshit. And then going to see somebody and they hear like some knocking and they're like, damn, ghosts are real.
Yeah.
They just like immediately flip and they're like Conan Doyle.
Sherlock
Dickens.
author?
Yes, Arthur Conan Doyle, like famous spiritualist, Charles Dickens, like a bunch of like people who we regard now as being intelligent people. Very much believes in this, which they should, because ghosts are real.
I mean, I'd love if at some point in my life, like, ghost research comes into vogue.
Back?
Yeah. I mean, you saw it. I tweeted at Mr. Beast. I'm trying to get us that Mr. Beast money so we can just become Ghostbusters.
I didn't see you tweet at Mr. Beast. What did you tweet at Mr. Beast?
I said, hey, Mr. Beast, give us that Mr. Beast money so we can become Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
It's on the Twitter.
He probably thinks we were talking about like coming and cleaning his kitchen for his DoorDash business.
Why?
There's a ghost kitchen.
Oh, I get it.
Kind of a stretch. It's kind of a stretch.
That's kind of a stretch. But yeah, I don't know. Robert Hare, actually, there is no S. He, let's see, he was a professor at the University of Pennsylvania. He developed the galvanic deflagrator, a type of voltaic battery having large plates. Voltaic battery having large plates used for producing rapid and powerful combustion. He's elected an associate fellow of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences in 1824. And then, 5 years before he died, he started conducting experiments with mediums and converted to spiritualism, where he wrote several books that made him a very famous spiritualist. His most famous book is called Experimental Investigation of the Spirit Manifestations, which we should read.
Okay.
The scientific community hated that he was doing this and said, please stop. But he had built machines. He'd built ghost machines, one of which was one of his experiments utilized a board and spring balance. The other involved the movement of a table at which a medium sat, caused a pointer to indicate letters on a wheel. So like a Ouija board, but without touching it.
Okay. Cool.
According to physical researcher Frank Podmore, it would have been easy for the medium to move the table with her knees or other parts of the body, but Hare does not seem to have realized the possibility of fraud of this kind. He also wrote that the machinery indeed was not ill-devised, but its use did not dispense with the necessity for close and continuous observation of the human agent. There's no evidence that Hare recognized this necessity or took any steps to guard against trickery. Science writer Terence Hines said, "What the scientists such as Hare and Wallace, who were convinced by what they saw as seances, were they incompetent scientists, dupes, or just plain gullible? The answer is none of the above. They had simply ventured out of their own area of expertise, an often fatal mistake. They assumed, as the critics in the scientific community, that if one is a good observer in the laboratory, one is qualified to observe in the seance. This is simply not true. Mediums were known to cheat, using the magician's tricks, sleight of hand, and distraction. Magic is a skilled trade requiring years of experience and practice. The training of a chemist, physicist, or psychologist confers no ability to spot magicians' tricks. To detect such cheating requires a magician." Historian Timothy Neeland argued that Hare's interest in spiritualism was consistent with political and social beliefs that he held throughout his career. And his book promoted the restoration of social order based on principles of republicanism.
Oh, excuse me. Okay.
So, I mean, I think that's an interesting explanation of, they're not rubes, they're not stupid, they're just basically too cocky. They think that because they're good scientists that they could do.
They could never fall victim to it, or, they've thought through it all, whatever. The thing that I'm more interested in next, okay, so we talked about rapping.
Mm-hmm.
What other spiritual, like spiritualist mechanisms are there?
One of my favorites, spirit photography.
Okay.
There seems to be two types of spirit photography. One that to the modern eye is very simply just double exposure, where they take a photo of people and then double expose it, so there's like transparent images of people that they state are their family in the background. And then also there's one kind that I think is Really interesting. Apparently, it's William H. Mumler, who was one of the leading spirit photographers who did that kind of spirits, and took photographs of Mary Todd Lincoln
Okay.
with her husband in the background. And it's a cool photo, but clearly it's not
I
even a double
assume after
exposure.
he died.
It's a photograph with like a drawing done in light during exposure.
Okay.
And then I can kind of I think I can. No, I don't think I can do that. Let's see if it works.
I'll probably break the
Yeah,
the
it'll
cameras.
break everything. Then you can just look up William H. Mumler if you want to see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna look this up.
Well, if you look at the stream, no, it'll break everything. I'm getting too cocky here. And then also there's the one, so I don't know who did it, but the spirit photography where it was just people like barfing up goo.
Oh yeah, like the ectoplasm kind of stuff. This spirit photography is dope.
It is tight. Like, it's good, but it's clearly fake.
Oh yeah, it's incredibly fake, but I do love that it's just like a person sitting there and then like a ghost kind of like caressing them gently.
Yeah. Oh, this ectoplasm shit's the worst.
There was somebody, I forget who it is, but they were found out to be a fraud because they part of their thing was like producing an ectoplasmic hand or something, and eventually they were just like, this is just liver. This is a liver that you've produced. And if I guess people did not think past like, oh, it's a hand. It's a real ghost hand, and not slimy piece of liver.
Ugh.
Incredible.
Yeah, I didn't do much research about the actual like ectoplasm. I do like hate these photos so much, so that might be why I didn't. But most of these, especially the Mumler videos, and if I remember correctly, there was like kind of a war between Mumler and James Mansfield where they both said that, at least Mansfield, I think, called Mumler on his shit.
I feel like there's a lot of, much like the right wing grifter of today, there's a lot of like, I'm real. This other person though, they're full of shit. Which is cool. I think that's, oh man, yeah, this sucks.
It's terrible to look at. It's probably going to be the cover for this podcast, but I do hate it.
Yeah, this just looks like some people throwing up towels.
It looks like cotton candy, like wet cotton candy coming out of the mouth.
There is a Wired article, if people are interested, who are listening to this after the fact, called Vintage Photos of Ectoplasm Conjuring, that you can see like a photo of this, which is...
Ectoplasm seems to be like... The lore of ectoplasm seems to be like... Garmonbosia, effectively, but without the negative feelings. It's just a mucus that comes out of the mouths and noses and ears of
It's so
people
funny
who are communicating with the spirit world. It's a manifestation of the spirit world.
It is just very funny to, like, I'm sure I would feel different if I were there.
Because apparently this is supposed to be what people actually saw at seances.
Yeah, this looks like somebody just ate a towel and then threw it up.
Dude, this one has a little picture in it. This is incredible. This actually looks like, God, I wish I could.
Yeah, there was somebody who, that's who I'm trying to figure out. Who did, paper mache, like figures would appear during the seance.
Yeah.
And you look at the photos of it and you're like, this is the fakest looking shit.
Yeah,
it's like very clearly like a paper mache mask that they've just wrapped in like towels and put on like a coat hanger.
Here, I'm sending you this photo. This is almost definitely what I'm using as the cover of the podcast, but it's just so terrible. It's a woman, I believe, who's a little hunched over, and then just basically like spewing smoke out of her nose that's
Oh,
turning
yeah,
into a
yeah.
towel, and has a little photo of what looks like Teddy Roosevelt in there.
Yeah. Oh man. I did not see the photo of Teddy Roosevelt in there. I saw that without the photo, or saw a version of that without the photo. That's good. I wish I could throw up like a sick vape cloud that had the shape of Teddy Roosevelt in it. One of the other people that I was reading about was Eusapia Palladino.
Okay, hold on. I am gonna try to. I think this is what you're talking about. I'm gonna
boy.
try and share
Share?
it via the stream. So if you just want to look on the stream.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, that's not working at all.
I'm tuning into the stream. Much like her. Oh boy, I just see the letter TH.
Yep. It broke. It broke almost completely. Oh shit.
This is incredible.
This is
This is spooky. This is the spookiest shit I've ever seen.
No, I can get it. I can get it. Hold on.
He turned himself into a pickle.
I can get it. Hold on. I know how to do this.
Well, you're working
Okay.
on that.
No, I got it. I got it. It's the
You got
middle. It's just in the middle of the screen now. It's just covering our faces.
Okay, yeah. Yes, that's it. That's the paper mache mask.
Yeah, just the laziest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah, like look at that one on the right. It is I would be scared if I saw that, but not because I'm like, oh, it's a ghost. That's just like who's doing like the person who's done this is not safe to be around.
No, this is just a bad Halloween decoration, and then just like you said, a towel tucked up under their blindfold.
Yeah, just like, ooh.
What if ghosts looked like this? What if ghosts are real and they looked like this?
That would be honestly better. I wish ghosts looked like that. Wouldn't be as scary. So one of the people that I was reading about was Eusapia Palladino, and her thing was levitating tables, and she was like discredited by like Harry Houdini and a bunch of that was the thing that's most interesting. A bunch of magicians were just like, these people are fakes. Like
Yeah.
it's very much that thing of like magicians who are like, I'm doing magic. I know it's not real. These people are doing that and then like grifting people out of their money by saying like, this is ghosts talking to you. But she would like levitate tables or make noises, and they would try to check her by like somebody they would have two people who are not involved like hold her arms or hold her hands and hold her legs or whatever. And what she would do occasionally would be like get them to touch each other's hands, and so that they're like, yes, her hand's not moving, but her hand is free and she's able to do a bunch of weird shit with her hand because the two controls are touching each other, which is great. I think that's awesome.
Just kind of a matchmaker.
Yeah. But yeah, she's born in Italy, I think. Yeah, in Italy, and just like went to Poland and England and France to do a bunch of this stuff. A lot of like doing the tour circuit in spiritualism, which is kind of interesting. I don't know. I think that the thing that's most interesting is like, where did this go? And I feel like a lot of it is just, I mean, the church, the spiritualist church took up some of it.
Yeah. I mean, and let's be fair. A lot of it, like, there are probably 5 different ghost hunting shows on TV.
Yeah. But there's, I think what it is a lot of it was driven at that time by advances in technology. Like there are people who they found out that I don't know how a trumpet was involved, but they said that the trumpet produced noise, and they figured out that what she was doing is she was a chemist that was putting like potassium in the trumpet, and then when water like touched it, it would react and then cause air to like be produced and come out of the trumpet and make like banging sounds or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it feels like what happened is a lot of people realized like, hey, we know a little bit more about chemistry now, and like photography is now becoming a thing. Let's either take advantage of that, or to be a little bit more generous, it was like, hey, we can't explain why this weird shit is now showing up. In the same way that like, people talk about this belief that the camera captures the soul, right? Like, if you see a double exposed photograph and one person is transparent and you know that person is dead and you're like, how did they get here? It kind of makes sense that you would jump to ghosts are real.
I mean, we live in a society. We live in a modern society.
We live in a society.
We live in a society where right now you could go on YouTube and look up ghosts and see top 5 real ghost photos by Chills. And it'd be like, number 5, this photo includes 12 dead people. Can you believe that a camera can really capture the soul? For number 4, here's a little boy that died, and now he's a friendly ghost. Here's his girlfriend. And then comments are like, that's a still from Casper. They just put a sepia filter on it. And Chills is like, haha, that's crazy, but how do we know Casper wasn't a documentary? That
was a pretty spot on impression.
Thank you. I've been working on it. But I mean, there's still people that are just putting it out there for either entertainment or to, I don't know, give people hope. I mean, a lot of these seances were like, and still are, because there's people you can go to where they're like, I'm feeling some energy in this side of the room. Mm-hmm. Is your grandfather in the spirit world? They want you to know that they're sorry and they love you. Like, a lot of it is either it's just grifting for money. It's like trying to give people hope in some way, some combination of the two, or it's just entertainment value. I mean, Demi Lovato's out there with their own ghost show now.
Yeah, the Alien show too, right? I think they're doing.
I think they're doing pan supernatural. Just
I am excited for whatever the fuck is going to come out of that.
Paranormal, sure. Yeah. What did you see the clip that was like the ghost probably doesn't like men? Sing a song for them as a tribute, and then Demi Lovato sang a song.
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did see that.
Incredible. I think that's modern spiritualism.
Sure. I mean, yes. I guess the question is where are the cyber ghosts? Right? Like if the progression is ghosts are real. Mm-hmm. I guess we're getting those. We're starting to get those films now, right? Like that's the haunted Zoom call films that are coming out.
Smiley with Shane Dawson.
Oh my god, I forgot about Smiley.
A classic internet horror.
I'm pretty sure when I saw that, I posted on Facebook like, this is the worst film I've ever seen.
Yeah, I told you my story about Smiley, right?
No.
That's when I wrote movie reviews for the UC paper, like whatever it was called. And it was the same issue that they had an interview with the director. So someone like spoke to the director, and then you turn the page, and then you just had me just saying no positive things about this movie.
That's so funny. Oh man, yeah. A bad movie.
Terrible
movie.
Maybe
if I revisited, I'd feel differently.
The ending has like 3 twists back to back. It's insane.
I don't remember. I blocked out, I think, everything about that movie other than the title and how I felt about it.
Is it like, funny bad though? It's not really that funny. It's mostly just frustrating.
Yeah. It's not like it can't be bad, right? Like there's plenty of things that I love that are like, this is bad, but I'm enjoying it. That was not a film that was enjoyable.
No, it's just like poorly made, and they have like Shane Dawson as like the sniveling, like shy, like friend-zoned friend. Terrible. We should rewatch that.
We should watch it. I forgot it had Keith David in it.
Yeah, well, man, Keith David will do pretty much anything.
Right, that's right. The whole thing hinges around going to like an Omegle or a chat roulette and typing "I did it for the lulz."
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, you go on Omegle, you type in "I did it for the lulz," and it's LULZ, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then Smiley appears behind the person you're talking to, and then stabs them. Incredible.
Oh man. Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah, and the guy who directed it, I looked this up before.
Michael Gallagher.
Wait, a college student named Ashley becomes roommates with Proxy. Ashley decides to go to a party where she meets Zane, Mark, and Binder, who's mocked. Binder is Shane Dawson, who is mocked by his classmates for having reported a case of pedophilia, earning him the nickname Pedo Bear.
Yes.
I forgot. Shit.
Yes. The whole thing, this whole movie was basically somebody like read about 4chan and was just like, I'm just gonna make a movie about this. Like they heard about Anonymous. That comes up in the fucking film. I think probably the reason that I hated this as much as I did when I first watched it was that I was still on 4chan and I was like, this is insulting.
I think it's ironic that, okay, so Shane Dawson's character's nickname is made fun of with the nickname Pedo Bear. But not for being a pedophile, for reporting a pedophile.
Right.
Well, in real life, I think there's some allegations. Shane Dawson's allegedly done some weird shit. Oh my god, the fucking director's the same person who did Thinning. The
Thinning.
The Thinning, yeah, did The Thinning. The Logan Paul Netflix Red series.
Oh my god. YouTube Red.
In a future. Yeah, what did I say?
Netflix Red.
Yeah, YouTube Red. Sorry, it's YouTube. It was when YouTube tried to get into streaming. The synopsis is, in a future, overcrowded, dystopian society, students with the lowest test scores are cold. 2 students discover errors with the test.
Oh my god. Nick, would it surprise you to know that they made a sequel to that film? Called The Thinning New World Order?
Oh, really? Well, The Thinning was a series, I thought. Oh, no, it's a movie? And then they made a sequel. Wow, we should watch those.
The plot here...
I hate my selfie, too. He did I hate myself, and I hate my selfie. I hate my selfie, and I hate my selfie, too. Incredible.
Yeah. God. Apparently, one of the last few things that I've looked at before looking up Michael Gallagher is Danny Tamborelli.
Oh, yeah, what's he up to?
I think this came out of when we chatted last week. We talked about the 100 Good Deeds of Eddie McDowd.
Yeah, Danny Tamborelli was in a band that played at Motor a couple years ago.
Okay, I'm glad he's still doing stuff.
I remember some friends getting a photo with him. I thought, damn, that's sick.
That is sick. What else about spiritualism, Nick? We've kind of lost up a lot.
Yeah, we got caught up in Smiley. I think the last thing I'd like to talk about is mesmerism. You said you researched that, right?
I briefly looked into it. So he is the guy who kind of invented hypnotism. So it's Franz Mesmer.
Did he do the pocket watch, or did he do the spinning white black circle?
I don't know. Let me. So I got to go through this. But animal magnetism, right? That came up last week about
animal magnetism.
Yes.
I thought I thought that was like attraction.
No, so animal magnetism, also known as mesmerism, is an invisible force possessed by all living things that he thought that you could influence.
Okay,
and so
its secondary definition is a magnetic charm or appeal, especially sex appeal.
There is, yes, but that is, I think that's where you get Dracula is a sex god because he can do animal magnetism / hypnotism on people and make them want to bang Dracula. The plot of Dracula is him just trying to get his dick wet. But yes, his whole thing was that he
Hey, can I show you something real quick?
Produced an, quote, artificial tide in a patient who suffered from hysteria by having her swallow a preparation containing iron and then attaching magnets to various parts of her body.
Hey, I just want to show you something real quick.
Sure.
Sorry to distract. So there's a Scorpions album called Animal Magnetism. If you look at the stream, I'm gonna show.
Throw it up in the stream.
Hold on, I gotta go to. No, we can see it this way. You can see it this way. Can you see it?
Yeah.
So this is the front cover of Animal Magnetism.
Okay.
And then this is the back cover.
Which one's the back cover? Sorry.
This is the front cover. They're seeing right
The
now.
with the girl laying down and the guy with his hand in his back pocket.
Then there's that dog.
Okay.
And then on the back cover,
the dog appears to be sucking him off.
yeah, is that dog sucking that guy's dick?
I would think so. I think that seems to be what they're implying there.
They're implying that dog's sucking that guy's dick, right? And he is not. He has not moved at all. He changed his shirt.
He changed his shirt.
He put on a different shirt.
That's how you get the dog.
Yeah. Ugh.
Sure. But yeah, so animal magnetism, mesmerism is it. I mean, it all comes down to putting people in a trance to cure them of some ailment or to relieve some symptoms of a disease, and then eventually that later turns into like the idea of hypnotism of like, if we can put people into this trance, what if we could more like influence them a little bit more. I love that this says that there are some modern people who compared this to Qigong or Qigong.
What's that?
That is like the like a Tai Chi, basically. This is a big simplification, but it is like meditation and breathing exercises along with like physical movements. But I'm pretty sure it is heavily associated with the Falun Gong.
Oh, okay.
Who are the group that put on Shenyun every year?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, that's like a key part of their religion. Their group is Qigong, which people say mesmerism. I've just got to quote this so that I don't get in trouble. Some contemporary scholars equate mesmer's animal magnetism with the qi of Chinese traditional Chinese medicine and mesmerism with medical qigong practices.
Mm-hmm.
So, take that as you will, I guess.
I'll take that as it is. There's so much here.
That's the thing is it's very broad.
I think
means that
I think this is part one because
if we want to start digging into some more stuff,
I think there's more in spiritualism, and also I feel like there's an obvious part two, which is the evolution of spiritualism, where spiritualists were opposed to evolution.
Yeah, and then they had to figure out how to resolve the ideas of spiritualism with what evolution meant.
And then we get theosophy.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what that is. I saw it.
The opposition. It's in opposition to the spiritualist interpretation of evolution. It teaches a metaphysical theory of evolution mixed with human de-evolution.
Oh, like Devo. Like the band.
Exactly like Devo. There's also theosophy and spiritualism were both very popular metaphysical schools of thought, and they clashed. Theosophy was mostly from the writings of Helena Blavatsky. She distanced herself from spiritualism and allied with Eastern occultism.
Yeah, we should save this.
I would like to talk about that at length.
Yeah, we should go down this path.
There's also interesting. Here it says the spiritualist Gerald Massey claimed the Darwin's theory of evolution was incomplete. He said, the theory contains only one half of the explanation of man's origins and needs spiritualism to carry it through and complete it. For while this ascent on the physical side has been progressing through myriad of ages, the divine descent has also been going on, man being spiritually an incarnation from the divine, as well as a human development from the animal creation. The cause of the development is spiritual. Mr. Darwin's theory does not in the least militate? militate against ours. We think it necessitates it. He simply does not deal with our side of the subject. He cannot go lower than the dust of the earth for the matter of life. And for us, the main interest of our origin must lie in the spiritual domain. So there was also some evolution of spiritualism to work with.
Yes, yeah, that was the thing that I was gonna want to dive into. So we should hone this down, but I think we should revisit this next week.
I agree. I think there's more. I feel like we've hit it on kind of mid to late 18th century spiritualism.
Yeah, we need to get that good 19th century shit, because that's when they started. That's when we had the telephone.
Yeah, we need the turn of the century. We need ghost calls,
radios.
And then we'll end this with an episode about ghost kitchens.
The clear evolution is ghosts are real. Ghosts are calling you. Ghosts are making you food.
I agree. Mr. Beast? See if we can get Mr. Beast on the horn for that one.
Sure. We'll put in a you could probably just let's place an order and we'll tip them really well and just have the person talk to the person about ghost kitchens that delivers the food.
Okay. Yeah, let's get our clairvoyant, the Grubhub delivery guy.
Yeah, using code Endwalker
to get free delivery and a pizza emote in what's that fucking game?
Final Fantasy 14. Come on.
I know that. All right, well, to be continued.
This is, if you want to put this in human terms, this is kind of like a life. The next episode will be like afterlife.
Well, Spiritualism 2, Afterlife Consequences.
Afterlife Consequences. God. Sure. Oh, boy.
All right. You got
anything else we want to? Yeah, I don't think I have anything.
I got a whole lot more, but I'm honestly too spooked after seeing Helen Duncan's paper mache coat hanger ghost to really continue.
Yeah, I've got to figure out where we can watch Smiley.
Yeah. I mean, we've only been streaming for
an hour.
About
I think it's good. I think we keep it short.
I think we could end the episode and then just watch Smiley on stream till we get DMCA'd.
Okay.
I think we should try it.
Sure.
I'll just cut that.
Can we get DMCA'd?
I don't know. I think if we're adding commentary to it, we can't. But I think we should just do it. Let's just wrap up the episode.
Right.
Is there anything you wanna plug? Any ghosts?
I have anything. No. I want to plug Torn Light Records for not having the Greta Van Fleet album.
Hell yeah.
Is good, probably good for them.
Did you get Born by Jet instead?
No, I did get that Greta Van Fleet album, but I had to go to Shake It. But I did buy.
You went to Shake It and bought a Greta Van Fleet album on vinyl?
Yeah.
Did they give you a look?
No, they did. Sarah put it up on the counter, so it felt like I was. Sarah's like, "I'll take the hit for you." No,
because I'd give you a look.
Yeah, I was trying not to engage. I was hoping to find something more interesting, but they didn't have any. They didn't have any like weird, like Japanese folk music, which I found at Torn Light. So, shout outs to Torn Light.
Shout outs to Torn Light. Good record store. I haven't bought a record in a while, so I won't plug anything. All I'll plug is like and subscribe. Smash that follow button.
Figure out when we're playing Fortnite.
Figure out Final most Fantasy. Most nights watch us play Fortnite.
We've been playing
a lot of Fortnite.
It's absurd. It's probably no good, honestly.
What are you talking about? You gotta hype this shit up, man.
Oh, sorry. No, I mean, it's not good for us. It's fun. It's a fun time. Watch us get very upset with our friends and me for walking away from the group and then getting murdered, or more likely walking away from the group, everybody else getting in a fight, and then being like, I don't know where you guys are. It's like, we've been talking for 5 minutes about how we're getting shot at. What are you doing?
Watch us all get in vehicles and just go in different directions and then get mad at each other for not being where we are.
It's good.
It's fun. Follow us on Twitter at Think the Podcast, on Instagram at Think the Podcast. Go to our website, thinkthepodcast.com.
Wow.
Leave us 5 stars on iTunes. Leave us 5 stars on Stitcher. I don't know if we're on Google Play, but I think we are. Leave us 5 stars. Tell all your friends.
Illegally upload our podcast to Cobas or Spotify and give us 5 stars on that.
Do that. Hey, until next time, though. Don't think too hard.
Who's that rapping at the door? We'll find out next time.
Oh, bye.
Bye.